So what I have here today is DeWalt's latest and greatest impact driver. It's the DCF860. This tool came out a little bit ago, but we're finally getting our hands on it and actually having an opportunity to run some tests with it. What's fun though is we get to compare it to the previous generation, which is the DCF845. These two tools are different tools. This one on paper is a monster compared to this one, and we're gonna break that down for you. So not only do we have an improvement in a tool, we also have some other batteries that are claiming some improvements as well. And so we're gonna run some tests and actually see if these enhance the tool, change things at all, or just kind of keep it the same. And we'll get back to that in just a little bit. But before we do that, let's look at these tools together. First off, it's shorter. The new tool is 4.8 inches, the old tool is 5.1, and as you can see here, the height difference is there. But everything comes at a slight cost. This one does weigh a little bit more. This one weighs about 2.4 pounds, bare tool. This one's 2 pounds as a bare tool. So you do gain a slight bit more weight with this tool, but that's quite okay once we run through these specs. The other thing that they changed was the way the selector works. This had an actual physical switch on the old model. The new one has a little blister button, and let me put a battery on here so that we can actually see it operate. It's illuminated where when I press the button, you have different settings. Now these settings really matter. Speed, for example, speed and torque on level 1 is 1800 RPM and 1250 foot-pounds. Inch-pounds of torque. Speed 2 is 2500 RPM at 2150 inch-pounds of torque. And then speed 3, setting 3, is 3800 RPM at 2,500 inch-pounds of torque. That's significant because this is on speed 3 in particular is running 400 RPM faster and 675 inch-pounds more of force. So considerable improvement over the previous model. Another big improvement with this tool is the lights. I'll just go click a battery on here so you can see. But previous generation had just 3 LEDs. New generation got 9 LEDs. So big improvement here for visibility when working in dark spaces. Another functionality of this light that some people are really beginning to like, and I've seen a lot of feedback on this, is your ability to, one, use it on a mode where there's no lights. So when I hit that trigger, I'm not illuminating anything. Sometimes you're doing work where you don't really need the illumination. Then one click puts me where it's at a lower lumen level. So as I activate it, I got a lower level. I can activate it one more time, get a little bit brighter. And then this is actually maybe the coolest setting. I can put it on the last mode, which you might be able to see there, is 20 minutes. And that means 20 minutes that these lights stay on. So why would that matter? Well, you're working up in an attic maybe. You're doing something in a space that's confined where you don't have a lot of light. Instead of dragging another flashlight with you, now you actually have a built-in flashlight here, and it gives a considerable amount of light. And this is with the kind of lights that we have in here, and you can still see the illumination this provides. So it is considerable. And the fact that you can turn it on and use it like a flashlight, because I know I have done it many times where I just bump the trigger to get the light so I can see what I'm doing. This is a setting that allows us to actually utilize that. And then when we don't need it, we can turn it off. And that way, on level 1 and setting 1, the light stays off all the time. So convenience factors is what that is. Another thing that I noticed as I worked through this tool was the vents are larger that are built in the tool as well. So this is vents that get draw air in through the bottom of the tool, brings it up through the handle, and as you operate the tool, it's pulling cool, fresh air here and running it around the motor to help keep your motor cooler. They've increased the size of these vents for better airflow. And you can see the size difference right here, that it is considerably different. Yeah, that's kind of this impact driver in a nutshell. But when we begin to combine it with new batteries, that's where we can kind of start seeing some yet better improvements, better enhancements in what this tool can do. And I'm really eager to give these a try, which we're gonna go ahead and set that up right now. All right, now that we got the testing set up here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these 3/8 by 8 inch RSS screws and drive them into this OSB board that we've already laminated up. The reason we're doing this is because this is a really tough test of what these impact tools can do. It demonstrates the amount of work that's done to put one of these screws in. And I'm going to start with the standard XR battery as our first test subject. What I'm going to do is run 3 screws per battery, just to get a feeling for the differences between the batteries. And then at the end, we'll tabulate all this and calculate it and figure it out and discuss it later on. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. And here's the first one. Oh, before we start too, want to make sure that I am in top speed, top torque. And we'll do that for all these batteries as well. So, and yep, we are. All right, that went in pretty good. And again, this is the standard XR battery. It's a 8 amp hour. All right, let's try that left-handed now just to see, offhand just to see how it feels as well. Sometimes it's not convenient to always drill with your normal standard hand. Sometimes you want to switch it up, so, or maybe you can't reach a certain way. So we'll give it a try like this. All right, well, obviously the XR had no problem putting this in flush. As you can see here, they all went in, and just curious to see now what happens when we change our battery out. So next battery we're going to do is that 8 amp hour PowerPack. This is a tabless battery, cells in here, and supposedly supposed to have a little more power, a little more runtime, and let's see what this one does. I don't know if you caught that, but that initial bit of screw that went in, it was flying. You can really see it go in with a lot of speed initially, and then it begin to slow down when it's really getting down into the deep into the wood. Just interesting to see that initial burst of power. Let's try that again. There's definitely a difference. There's definitely a difference. I'm curious to see what these times look like when we tabulate this. Again, we'll do this one offhanded just to see how that feels. So there's 3 screws with that guy. The XR Power Pack battery definitely had an improvement over the standard XR battery. It was noticeable, and it definitely with that initial burst of speed that it had. Really interesting to see how that worked out. And last but not least, I'm going to try this out with the XR Power Stack battery. This is a 5 amp hour battery, and see how this one does. Not sure yet what I think about this one. Let's try another one. All right. Actually, it feels similar to power delivery as the XR battery. But the thing to note is that this is a 5 amp hour battery, not the 8 amp hour like the XR. And we'll go offhand. So, hard to say. Definitely power improvement with the PowerPack. Interesting to see that, this one I think is way ahead as far as times go. Again, we'll tabulate this and get back to you on that a little bit later in the video. But these 2 batteries actually felt kind of similar in performance. We'll see what our numbers tell us here in a little bit. All right, so after a little bit of testing, after spending a little bit of time with this tool, I'm actually kind of surprised with the results. It's interesting in that when I look at the results as we average these out, this one, our XR battery, 8 screws, our average was 7.44 seconds per screw. Our PowerPack, 8 amp hour as well, was 7.29. Not as big as a spread as I was anticipating, because this one felt, when I was using this one, like they were going in a lot faster initially, which they were, and it did show up a little bit, but it's not hugely faster. But what do we get with this battery versus this battery? And that's where the difference comes in, is you get better runtime and this runs cooler. So if you're a high performance user, you're putting a lot of demand on your battery, this battery over time is going to give you better runtime and run cooler than this battery. So that's a performance advantage. It did give us a slight edge, but not that much of an edge. Now, what's interesting is this battery, which is the power stack, and it's a 5 amp hour, this one came in at 8.3 seconds. So, you know, we have about a second spread between this guy and this guy. But what's that tell you? Well, one, look, it's a 5 amp hour battery. Size-wise, battery's a lot smaller as well. It's also considerably lighter. So you do gain a performance enhancement when you use this battery, in that maybe it's running about the same speed as this one, but look, 5 amp hours, smaller, more compact battery, lighter weight tool. So long term, if you're having to do a lot of things that are maybe overhead, places that are uncomfortable to work in, this might be a better battery choice for you. And also, you'll get better runtime and better cooling as well for this battery pack. So the new battery technology is good for sure, and it does have its purpose in that, you know, that runtime really does matter between charges. Another thing is, and I failed to point it out earlier, is the bit release with the collet. It's nice. That bit eject, one-hand bit eject, well, pops it right out of there, so you're not having to pull it out with the other hand. It's little things. It's the little things that really matter. So if you want to pick up one of these tools, the bare tool runs for about $199. As a kit though, you get the PowerPack along with the tool and a charger for $319. These are available online at any of your favorite retailers, but if you have to have it right now and you can't wait to get out to the store, click the link below and you can get one. So if you have any comments, questions about this tool, we'd love to hear them in the comments below. If you like our video, give us a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.